Honorable Governor of Morobe.
Thank you, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Lord, give me permission to talk. Lord, this is a very important issue to decide whether we should support the bougainvilleans to sever themselves from the Papua New Guinea or not. And I want to thank the Minister for Bougainville Affairs, who gave the statement last year, but that statement the debate on that statement was deferred. And then question continued to being fired in relation to the government's stand on Bougainville after the referendum. And I asked this morning for the debate to be brought forward. And I want to thank the leader of the government business to bring the debate forward and gives the opportunity to members of parliament to debate on this issue. And Mr. Deputy Speaker, it's very important that we debate on the issue. Of course, the vote will come later. Final vote or whatever that may be will come later. But debate on the issue must begin. The Minister has begun by providing the statement, and the honourable members of Parliament must debate. This is the Parliament of this country, Parliament of the Bougainville people, Parliament of the morobe people, and Parliament of the Timbus, Parliament of everyone in this country. Any issue affecting any part of the country, any member of Parliament, through this Parliament, has every right to debate. So, Mr. Speaker, Deputy Speaker, I want to debate on this point, this matter. The circumstances which led to the Bougainville Peace Agreement in 2001, eventually that treaty between Papua New Guinea government and the Bougainville leaders was required to be transplanted into the Papua New Guinea Constitution. And Part 14 of the Constitution of this country spells out Bougainville government, spells out referendum, spells out how many people, what's the options there, options for greater autonomy and options for independence. And that section also provides that after the referendum, the consultation will take place between the Bougainville government and between the Papua New Guinea government, and the result of that consultation, whatever that may be, will be tabled in Parliament by the Minister for Bougainville Affairs, pursuant to Section 342 of that constitutional, Part 14 of the Constitution. Now, before I come to those arguments, I want to tell this Parliament, as per the Minister's report, I read it, the circumstances which led to the peace agreement and eventually the Constitution amendment under Part 14 is that the war in Bougainville. Francis Honor and his people formed a Bougainville Revolutionary Army to fight the security forces of this country. They fought, and their main objective is to gain independence for Bougainville. They fought. Francis Honor, with due respect, is not here, but he will testify this. As I read from the report, they fought for independence. Nobody can claim that they won the war. No Papua New Guinea government can say that you won the war. Nor can the Bougainvilleans say that you won the war. The war was continuing, and the mercy of the New Zealand government came in. And they asked for peace, meeting on peace in Lincoln, in New Zealand, state of Lincoln. And everybody agreed to surrender, not surrender, withdraw fighting and come to the table in Lincoln to negotiate. And in Lincoln, both Papua New Guinea leaders and bougainville leaders have agreed to reduce whatever agreement to writing and have it signed. That's how Bougainville Peace Agreement came into being in 2001. When the agreement came in there, if you read the text of the agreement, among other things, they agreed that they should surrender all arms. Surrender arms. Allow the United Nations to come in and supervise, if anything. Supervise. They agreed that Papua New Guinea government should set up the autonomous government for Bougainville. They agreed that referendum should, that in that government, there should, Bougainville government, if it is installed, should demonstrate that they meet the international standard of good governance. That's what's said in the agreement. And in the agreement, Mr. Speaker, he said that there shall be a referendum conducted. It shall be conducted. And that referendum, in the referendum, there should be question being asked. And that question, Bougainville's people, leaders there, demanded that there should be an option for independence. And in the agreement, there was an option for independence. And there was an option for greater autonomy to be put in that agreement. And there should be referendum, and the referendum should be fair and free, supervised by the United Nations. That's what they agreed. And Mr. Speaker, the agreement must be tabled in Parliament under clause 311 of the agreement. Must be tabled in Parliament, must be rectified. These are the words. Must be ratified by the Parliament. That's what they said in the agreement. And then after the referendum, it said in the agreement that referendum, the results of there must be a referendum conducted, and the result of that referendum, the two parties, the Papua New Guinea government and the Bougainville government, will discuss on the results of that referendum. It said in that agreement. And then after the discussion, that whatever the results of the referendum must be tabled in the parliament of this country. This is the parliament. This is the parliament now, yeah? I'm stopping. I'm going to talk. Stop. Must be tabled in parliament. And in parliament, and must be rectified. Mr. Speaker, I don't know what is going on, but the agreement said that that agreement must be built into the constitutional law of this country. That's what the agreement said. And I can say that having read the peace treaty, Bougainville Peace Agreement, having read the constitutional amendment which tried to accommodate that agreement, there's one matter, very important matter. Whoever the draftsman made a terrible mistake. That draftsman, I don't know who, Papua New Guineans or outsider, who did it. Because the intention of the agreement, by both parties, is there must be a ratification by this parliament. But Section 342 did not say those words. Section 342, subsection 2 says that after the presentation by the Minister of Bougainville Affairs, Parliament will make any decision, it said, any decision. It didn't say rectification. pursuant to the agreement they signed, any decision that's running away from the agreements that they have signed, Papua New Guinea government and bougainville government have signed. That is the one that is giving problems now. Because some fellows can read and say that he doesn't specifically say ratification. He just says any decision. Mr. Speaker, that's it. But I think what we need is a constitutional court opinion, in my humble view. Because it's like the amendment to the Constitution. You're proposing amendment to the Constitution, you must go back to the CPC report to give you what was the thinking of Papua New Guinea through the CPC report, to guide the interpretation, any section of the Constitution. And in this case, the peace agreement was the agreement which the parties agreed to be built into the Constitution, and they said in clause 311, ratification. They didn't say any decision. They didn't say any decision. Ratification. And therefore it must go to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court must give an interpretation. That's that ratification. Any decision, it says in section 342, subsection 2, means ratification exclusively, or it opens up for any other interpretation. If you apply the constitutional law, that I say that it must mean a ratification. If it says a ratification, what's the meaning of ratification by Oxford Dictionary? Is the acting speaker, deputy speaker? Ratification means approval by Oxford Dictionary, or endorsement by the authority above. So if the Constitutional Court rules that is a ratification, then you interpret the meaning of ratification by the Oxford Dictionary, then it must mean approval. It must mean approval. Doesn't mean you come around here and talk about the sessional vote or what kind of vote or when is the kind of vote we want to talk here. You must get a guidance from the documents which gave rise to the constitutional amendment, which is the peace agreement. So I think that it must mean, in my humble view, it must mean ratification, which means, it says any decision, but it means ratification, and ratification meaning by the Oxford Dictionary, because it's a topless role English manner. You know, belong kairuku. You know, belong orokaiwa. And topless role English here. And if you read the Oxford Dictionary, it tells you approval. Ratification means approval. So this Parliament must approve it. And Mr. Prime Minister
Honourable Governor,
and the Minister,
Honourable Governor from Morobe, we have a point of order.
My point of order is Oxford Dictionary doesn't say approval. Rectification means putting something correctly, do it correctly. Thank you.
I totally disagree with you.
Honourable Governor.
So, Mr. Speaker, it needs to take place. And Mr. Prime Minister, what we need to do is to get the Supreme Court to give us the opinion. Supreme Court to give a constitutional court to give us an opinion. Does the any decision means any decision, or if you go by the treaty means ratification? And we need the Supreme Court to give us an opinion on that. And then we know exactly whether it is any decision or it means ratification. Mr. Speaker, I want to say very clear to this Parliament, supporting the bougainvilleans, UN Treaty 2007, Rights of the Indigenous People of the World. UN General Assembly had made declaration for the rights of the indigenous people in the world. Rights to the property, cultural rights, whatever rights, including rights to self-determination. And we are a member of the United Nations, Mr. Speaker. We are. And our representative was there. The record shows that our representative voted for that UN declaration for the rights of indigenous people in this world. We did not abstain. Countries like Indonesia and others, they abstained. But our representative in the United Nations voted for the declaration. This parliament has not rectified it yet, for whatever reason. In my view, this country, this parliament must rectify it so that we can support the Kanaks, the Melanesian Kanaks, to gain independence. This parliament must support it so that we must support the West Indian people to gain independence, because their rights emanate from the UN Declaration in 2007. Why this government has not brought this declaration by the United Nations to this parliament? Foreign Minister, I humbly request you to bring the treaty declaration, UN declaration, to this parliament, and this parliament must rectify. So that gives us the power to support the Kanaks to gain independence. Give us the power to support the West Syrian to gain independence. We must support them. We are the members of the United Nations. And we cannot just hide and seek like that for too long. Time have you come to this country? You mean by the United Nations of Simalpina? You better want them United Nations declaration, the conventions, no one. You must challenge. Hey, time tsunami come. Kiri Mama's 3,000 people on Itapia. United Nations can come in here. Because you remember the United Nations. You come in. So we let us say, bougainville, they have that right under the UN Declaration. They have a right. Over the Bandri now, yeah, and white man Bandri. Bandri, Papua New Guinea Bandri, New Britain Bandri, New Ireland Bandri. Over this rain of Bandri, believe me, and Bandri belong outside man. Only Salo custom, believe me. Only Salo passing, believe me. Only put him to the Bandri on ground, believe me. Now is the time. When the circumstances changes, when there is circumstances which warrants the change of the boundary, we must do it. We must do it. There's no right. We were here before the foreigners came here. We were here before the foreigners came here. Nobody can come and tell me that in the garden blue you say walk him to slab, yeah. You're also going to walk him to null club. Nobody's got the power, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Or come to Tumbuna me walk him garden, all by established slab, yeah. Mr. Speaker. So Bougainville, they're fighting for independence. They fought. They saw it by 97.7%. You're going to change that? You're going to change the minds of Bougainville? Bougainville would show it. We all agree for referendum. Both parties have agreed for referendum. And to decide, to find out how many percent support the independence call, how many percent support the greater autonomy. And the 97% of the 97.7%, which is almost 100%, they voted for independence. And my view, Prime Minister, we must give them independence. And build the army, Mr. Parliament. We build the army. Anybody wants to break away, we fight them, put them proper. How many people you mean come up? How many people Australia finish? Police believe me come up, police from Australia finish. CIS become covered, CIS from Australia finish. Why you see independent on 16 September and now you come up colony again? Hey. Peter Ilaw can not talk to what about the gun below army, but you go back and me talk him. You collab the boat and you go to Brisbane and no one come back. And country for me mix independent on 16 September, you? Hey, no money, you don't got Bunara Bureau by kidding me and you allow him Bunara Bureau. I told Peter Ilaw, commander of the army, and he never responded. Mr. Speaker, we must build the formidable defense in this country. We give the Bougainvilleans independence, we build a army. We don't make them like break away and make him long and fighting past them, power gun, Papua New Guinea past them. That's what we have to do. Let's not make our army pretty weak. Let's not make our police pretty weak. We sleep on this thing now bougainville fight out. Or like you're going on now you make him 20,000 man day. 1,100 man die me to talk. 20,000. You think all bougainville by give up like doctor? Build the army. Let them go and build the army. Build the police. Honorable PD Patas will complain of police here. Everybody was supporting men here. Building more police. You said man you get long and you vaccine time here. Chublogan vaccine. Mr. Speaker. So thank you, Minister. I want you to act seriously on this issue. Go by the Constitution. Don't try to come out. Sectional vote, no one. The peace agreement never talked about sectional vote, and the constitutional amendment part 40 never talked about sectional vote.
Honorable Governor, your 20 minutes have lapsed.
So which means we go by simple vote, if we have to. But I think we get a Supreme Court.
Your 20 minutes have lapsed. Thank you.